What's up? What's up? Hey, what's up, everybody? So, just going to be me tonight. Kev has some travel going on, a businessman, of course, but have no fear. As I mentioned, I used to do the Swami selection. I used to do the Swami. I used to do the Swami Sunday night Swami stuff. So, anyway, let's get to it. So, of course, with the combine going on, we'll talk some RayJ. I'll take your questions on YouTube chat and Sean on YouTube chat, and then on Twitter if you post in that tweet. So I'll try to keep up with it on the Twitter chat, but it's kind of hard to triple task. But anyway, thanks for tuning in tonight. I wanted to talk tonight mainly just because there's so much stuff going on. And you know what? I didn't want to wait till Sunday because, I think a lot's going to be going on through Sunday. I might be able to get a guest on here tonight. He just texted me back. So in the middle of the Q&A, I'll answer some. We'll see if he can do it. That'd be cool, but might have to jump on and do the interview tomorrow. All right, so I'm going to answer your questions, and then we'll see if maybe he can jump on. But anyway, so Sean Garner asked me, I want to talk about Shannon Hawkins, the combine, and then we'll talk a little bit more about RayJ Dennis. So Sean Garner asked, is Caleb Love an option for the Illini? So the answer to that is no, for multiple reasons. One, Illinois is looking for a point guard to lead the team, not a turnover machine who shoots 35% from the field. Also, who shoots 20% from deep. Just a very selfish player. That is not conducive to, guys, especially think about this, like a Terrence Shannon. Who would want to come back with with Caleb Love as your point guard? Okay. North Carolina was happy to get rid of him. Juwan Howard was just desperate because they didn't have anything else. Like a real, a guy who can score, okay, 20 points a game, but again, 35% from the field. Just desperate because then you got Doug McDaniel, who still young, but not really a scorer. And then you got Nimari Burnett there at Michigan, who is just injury prone. You don't really know what he is. So they needed something. It will not be RayJ Dennis in Michigan. So anybody else has that question on here. RayJ Dennis, it's funny. It's not Utah. It's not Michigan. It's Illinois. Now, so Caleb Love sounds like Indiana, but, if he wanted to be closer to home, Missouri makes a lot of sense for Caleb Love. But have no fear, Illini fans, okay? Have no fear. Caleb Love will be nowhere near. I think we, as Illini folk, we're okay with wherever he goes, if it's Indiana or Missouri, because Illinois will be playing both those teams. So we want that, We want a ball hog who's going to jack up 25 shots a game, who shoots a low percentage. That's what you want. Okay? So, yeah, bring them on to one of those two schools. That'd be great. Indiana would be awesome because I think they play Indiana twice. So, yeah, I'd be cool with that. So that is the answers your question there, Sean. Any more for you folk on YouTube? Just hit them there. I'll be checking Twitter just to see if anybody else had any other questions. In the meantime, I'm going to okay. Sean asks, when will Shannon make his decision? Terrence Shannon mentioned today, if you guys, anyone listened to Andy Katz's interview with him, along with some other national media, he's going to finish the combine and then talk about his offers, and as I tweeted tonight, and if you guys have been watching and following along the last month, he wants a guaranteed first round, he wants guaranteed first round money, so he can come back to Illinois and get $750,000 to $1 million, probably closer to $800,000, it sounds like, but he can have that in his pocket. He comes back to Illinois. He needs that first round guaranteed money, and not even a two-way contract, because the two-way deal is only $500,000. He's going to be making $300,000 more at Illinois. He needs that first round contract. So I think it's got till the 31st, but it wouldn't shock me if towards the end of next week. So the shock wouldn't surprise me at the end of next week, you guys, because think about that. End of next week, we're looking at the 28th, 29th, something like that. So you got a little bit over a week and a half here. I think things will start to cook for Shannon. That was Sean, and we'll get to Brad, who makes a comment about Brandon Podziemski, who did look very good today, and it's interesting because there's a lot of people who have scoffed at, Brandon at his time at Illinois. Like, there's no way he would have been this good at Illinois. I think he may not have put up the same numbers, but I think his game would have popped off more and caught more attention still, because if you can ball and play, you can play. But going to Santa Clara, I think definitely was good for him, because it got to show off his complete skill set. He can create off the dribble. He's a very, very good, consistent three-point shooter. And he's got a nice floater. He's got a nice, medium game, which is important. And he's been well-schooled in that. And the kid's close to Tyler Hero. If you don't think that he'd been talking to Tyler Hero, that, he's been well-schooled and prepared. They've got those guys ready to go. So he knew what he needed. I thought it'd be a 3-year thing at Illinois where he'd have a chance to be a NBA player. And he's doing it in 2. I mean, can you really be anything but happy for him? I mean, he didn't do anything wrong at Illinois. He just really didn't get a chance. And the Illinois staff was torn on him. A couple of them really liked him, and a couple of them didn't. And I think there was a lot of immaturity that needed to be done with his teammates, but no one ever discredited. Ever discredited his work ethic and his love for the game and how serious he took it. So it would have been awesome to see him at Illinois, getting to showcase that. I'm happy for him. Now let's move on. So no more questions there. To check your Twitter questions here in a second. Shannon Hawkins. Okay. So Terrence Shannon and Coleman Hawkins have both been at the combine in Chicago, and they've been, doing their thing and trying to move on. And as I mentioned with the decision for Terrence Shannon, to me, it looks like while Shannon tested well, he did test way better than he did 2 years ago. But also, they're not you're not just going to get a first-round draft pick because, let's say, you have a 37.5, 38-inch vertical, or you made 15 of 25 threes, which wasn't that great, to be honest with you, standing still. Or how quick you can run the shuttle. So he did test well, though. But everybody knows that about Terrence Shannon. He has all the physical tools and attributes to be an NBA player. He's nearly 6'7", strong on the shoulders. He's elite quickness, and that's great. But it's how does that translate in the game? Because I think in the 5-on-5 with Shannon, the clips that I saw and the moments that I was watching, he looked pretty similar to the guy at Illinois, which isn't bad. I mean, all Big Ten. I think he comes back next year. He's going to be possible first, I think a second-team All-American, I think, is a very good chance of that. But he's good enough to possibly try to make first-team All-American. But I'm not going to badmouth his game. I mean, I think he's a top 40 to 45 player in the draft. But, again, that's not where he wants to be financially. So that's what's crazy is, like, me and Kevin have been talking about it. With NIL, a guy making $500,000, you think a two-way contract, let's leave. He's going to be making more than that at Illinois next year. So I do know he's dead set on he wants to stay in the draft, meet as many teams as possible, continue to put his best foot forward. I think he needs to show a lot more consistency on his threes. Obviously, it's a big thing. Today, airballed another one. He airballs a lot of threes. He makes some too, but he airballed one and then he missed one just terribly. So, again, a couple just so bad off that looked like maybe, from really good shooters, you don't see that a lot. So there's a lot of erratic stuff there. But he's elite in transition and finishing around the rim. But he gets by guys, but then he's just wild and loses the ball, turns it over, or forces things. He has to improve that. If you could showcase that at the NBA Combine, I think he could have helped himself a lot more to push himself maybe to near a late first-round type of pick. But from what I watched today, he looked pretty similar to the guy we saw this year, who many have had, around the top 40. I don't think what he did today made anybody go, man, we were wrong about what we thought about Terrence Shannon. Yeah, he's a really, really good basketball player with really, really, crazy freak-like athleticism and speed. I mean, great, but I don't think we've seen anything so far that says top 25 pick. So does that mean, I don't want the best for him? Sure. I hope he gets picked in the first round for himself. You want to see those guys thrive and be their best self and get the opportunities they want. But I'm not just going to come on here and say those things if I don't think it's true or I'm not hearing that it's true. So looks like I don't see anything on Twitter. See if any questions on. Nope. So again, and I appreciate we're going to get to Coleman Hawkins next. Appreciate though all you guys who follow along the Apple Podcasts. You guys who've been subscribing, listening. That's been awesome. Even the ones on Spotify, we appreciate you too. Definitely. And everybody who's been subscribing on YouTube, we appreciate you. Everybody who follows along here on Twitter. Matt, any news on a big transfer? Yeah, I mean, I've already mentioned Adrame Diange from Washington State, who Illinois recruited out of high school the first time. And remember, I mentioned that a few nights ago. I think it was Sunday night with Kevin. 7-foot, former top 50 big man from Arizona Compass, who played with Ty Washington, who really good athlete, very good defender, shot blocker, rebounder, is raw offensively, but definitely something that Illinois would want a rim protector. And I think it's looking more and more like that they would want a big, because if Hawkins does not come back, Illinois definitely needs a big. And I've mentioned Mark McCoy, I'm going to say Missouri, but, people who say they have a bunch of sources are saying Indiana, so we'll see. But I think it's going to be Missouri over Indiana. But one of those two, it sounds like that's what's up. But back to Adrame Diange. Again, look him up, man. He's got 7 foot long arms. I think he'd be a perfect guy to match with Dane Danger, splitting some time. And let's say Danger's struggling or he's not, his hook, his left hand hook's not falling. You can just put Diange in there. If you're needing a rim protector, somebody who's going to run the floor, super athletic, give you some garbage buckets, block shots, and let your offense and guys go to work. So personally, I think I would love that. You need a big like that. He's an athletic specimen for sure at 7 foot. Again, the staff recruited him out of high school, so there's a lot of familiarity there. Let's see. Yeah, so a lot of people asking me about RayJ, and you're welcome. You're welcome, C. Miller. RayJ Dennis is finishing up his visits, and the reason why he went to Utah and maybe some of these other places is because they're getting some money to go to these visits. I'm not saying it's like big. I'm not saying it's like big time money, like $100,000 or something like that. But these guys are getting, I'd say, between $10,000 and $20,000 just to go visit a school, and that's become a thing now. So I think it was more. I think it was more of like, let me get some money in my pockets before I head to Illinois and sign that big and sign some NIL money, get as much money as I can. Can't really blame them either. No, everybody asking me. I've said this earlier, guys. For the ones that missed this, Caleb Love leaving Michigan has zero to do with RayJ Dennis. Okay, RayJ Dennis only visited Michigan because they knew there was going to be some transcript issues with Caleb Love. So RayJ Dennis it was a Michigan thing. It was like a favor. I think something may have already been preordained or met, and he got paid to go there. He got paid to go to Utah, got some money for Baylor as well. So that's what's going on with that. And no, RayJ Dennis is anything but a lock to Baylor. Illinois has been leading and has led for him for months. So, again, the Tim Anderson connection to Illinois, I've never changed my thought on that. And nothing's changing because Illinois needs a point guard bad. They have the NIL money, a nice chunk for him. Plus, it's close to home. And they've got players that can make it happen to, make a run in the tournament. Illinois has everything that he could want. And, Illinois' visit was great. And I know the family, from what I was told, loved it and saw everything they could. Yes, so today was the last day you could do visits until Memorial Day. And at that point, we're hitting June, and kids are going to be already getting set in schools. He's not taking any more visits. It's decision time. I would be shocked if he has not made his announcement by the middle of next week. So I'm thinking maybe Wednesday or Thursday of next week. You should hear that. So again, Caleb Love to Missouri or Indiana, and has nothing to do with RayJ Dennis, no hurting. I don't see anyone getting RayJ Dennis from Illinois. I just don't, you guys. Okay? I think I'm going to let the AAU season continue on before there's some more 2024 hype and buzz. The staff's been out recruiting, and even in different countries, it sounds like. So more names are going to appear as this summer hits. So we'll be talking more about this too into May and June. So hang tight. But I'm trying to focus more on the transfer portal season. Is this last 2 weeks is really hot right now. So so RayJ by the middle of next week. I don't know, man. If Goody and DeMosk, I think they'll battle it out for a spot, to be honest with you. So, and again, thanks for asking your questions on Twitter and YouTube. Let's see what else we got here. Combine, I'm pretty sure ends towards the end of this week. I think it might be this weekend. It might even be early next week, but I know it's not going to be lasting until the end of May. And yes, there is. So, as I mentioned, when do you see RayJ committing? By the middle of next week, everybody. So, any other combine guys that they? There are other guys in the combine who it sounds like will drop out eventually. Let's say Shannon and Hawkins both stay in, which I'm going to give a 10% chance of that. I've already told you guys. 99% sure that one of Shannon and Hawkins comes back. And a chance of both could, but I'm heavy on Shannon coming back right now. But there will be some other grad transfers who are at the combine who'll drop out. Let's say Shannon and Hawkins, and the slim chance they both stay. Don't see it very highly, but there'll be kids and they'll push for somebody there. You got to. You can't just sit back on your thumbs. That's not going to get anybody anywhere. And no, Jalen Coleman Lands used all 7 years of his eligibility a year ago when the Kansas won the national championship like 13 months ago. Yeah, I mean, Keith Randolph threw out the first pitch tonight at the Cardinals game, and then they took the series from the Brewers. The Cardinals are kicking butt right now. I mean, I was done watching them for a while because 10-24 is woof. Now let's get to Hawkins at the combine. I think most people knew his athleticism wasn't the same as Terrence Shannon's, and we saw that. But the little disappointed in the vertical where you could move. I mean, Io had a 32-inch vertical too, I think, standing. But it looked like Coleman's moving was 32. So with some speed, that's a little weird. It's like all that time you're there with Fletch. Fletch always got it. Fletch always had guys up and amped up and ready and improved. But Io's athleticism wasn't really great when he came out of high school. So that's not surprising. Coleman shot it okay in the drills. But then in 5-on-5, again, I think he did enough with his playmaking ability and passing skill with his skill set at 6'11" that he's going to get drafted in the second round. I don't think it's going to be between 30 and 40, but I think he'll leave if it's between 40 and 50, and he knows he can get some sort of two-way contract to make at least $500,000 next year, and where he feels like he can make a team. Doesn't sound like Illinois has as big of an NIL package for Hawkins. I'm hoping this makes sense for some people. You might say, well, why would he not stay if he can make more at Illinois next year than if he goes to the combine or a two-way contract? Well, because he won't be making more at Illinois next year. That's the big difference. Shannon is higher up on the priority pecking order financially. It just is what it is. And as much as Hawkins might want to say or feel like he deserves more, Shannon was a first-team All-Big Ten player, and Hawkins was an honorable mention maybe, so not even second or third team. You got to know where your place is on the team, and I think financially that's where the money is. I think Shannon made himself money definitely made himself money being first team all Big Ten, because when you're one of the top 5 players in the league, you get paid accordingly. And when you're one of the top 100 players in the league, you get paid accordingly. But I think Hawkins has the talent to be on his senior year to make a second or a third team. He does. That's on him if he wants to come back and do that. I just think he's not – I just don't think he wants to come back and chance having just an average season or maybe just a good season, because is that going to propel him in his pro career? I don't really think it will. So I don't want to keep you guys all on here forever, but man, I got a player on here a recruit who was supposed to join me earlier the night, and he's texting me and apologizing, and he's like, I can do it in like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So if you guys have any more questions, I'll try to answer those. Maybe I could get him to jump on for a moment. We'll see. So we'll see how that works out for Hawkins. But so again, I think Shannon's staying, Hawkins more likely leaving. And yeah, so any thoughts on the new Illinois football uniforms? You know what? I've been noticing a lot of cursive lettering, and they've been slowly hinting at that. So I think the helmets could be, because cursive helmet, the Illini or Illinois used to have cursive handwriting on. I'm trying to think what decade it was. It was either 70s or 80s. I think there might be some cursive handwriting coming back. So, which would be interesting. I think it'll be neat. I think going to bring some more traditional, block along the pants, maybe from the Kittner and Turner era. That'd be kind of cool. But anything better than what the Lovey rebrand was. I got to be honest, wasn't a fan of that at all. See what we got on here. Yeah. Hey, what's up, A Black? I'm going to answer A Black first about the fall in the women's team and all their additions, and then I'm going to answer Brad from Twitter. So, Anthony, I think it's Anthony Black. Sorry if it's Arnold. My bad. Illinois women's basketball, I think, is, finished, I think, 6th or 7th in the Big Ten last year, made their first tournament in over 2 decades. Just so much growth and impressive, season, and impressive coaching, even impressive recruiting, getting those players to follow her from, Shoop Hill to follow her from Dayton with Makira Cook, and adding Genesis Bryant from North Carolina State. Super impressive the way she coached up the, Bostic and Adalia McKenzie from the previous staff, and just being so shorthanded in the post, just kind of making things work. I know they added Giovanna Lopez, the Brazilian grad transfer, who hadn't really played that high a level before. So you didn't really have a lot there. But I got to be honest, when a player is solid, a good player like Jayla Oden's leaving, because there ain't going to be no playing time, because Makira Cook and Genesis Bryant are adding 4 and 5 stars to their side and in the post. And now Kendall Bostic doesn't have to do everything. Kendall Bostic's going to have some help. Not only does she have, 6 4-star bigs coming in, freshmen, 6'5", then you get, a 5-star recruit from Duke, 6'3.5", an inch or 2 taller than her as it is. So a lot going on, a lot to be impressed with, a lot to be happy about. I think Illinois women are going to stay in the top 25, top 15 to 25 all next season. I think they're going to have a chance to, finish as a top 16 team who's going to, maybe have a chance to host a regional next year. And I don't think that's too crazy to say when I think they were underseeded last year as it is. Yes, they lost the playing game to Mississippi State, but Mississippi State also beat up on Creighton, who was the 6th seed. So yeah, super impressed with that. You got to love Shauna Green and staff and her Calamity McIntyre, her awesome assistants. I'll go ahead and answer this real quick. All right. I'm thinking, speaking of football recruit, I know a lot of people might have jumped off here, but I'm thinking about having Demetrius Hill join me. So who's the next football recruit? Demetrius John and Carlos Orr are two names to be watching out for. Hold on one second. It's okay. It's your bedtime. It's your bedtime, bud. Anyway, so Demetrius John and Carlos Orr are the next two. And I think there's a couple others. Makai Coutinho, who's from Jersey, who's really close with Sabor Kareem, is one to be watching as well over June. But some huge June official visits. Wiggins is one who just visited from Coffeyville Community College, who was on the visit with Demetrius Hill. And it looks like Penn State just offered him. So I think Illinois was in good shape with him, but we'll see. You got to beat out Penn State. That's not easy. But I think this staff can do it, especially with this offensive line staff and Bielema, and it's yeah. So I'm adding Demetrius Hill to this, you guys. So you guys lucky you stayed on with me. Late night got him in. So let's get her done. So hang tight with me. We're gonna add him. I'm gonna email him right now. Look at that in the middle of a podcast. Hold on. All right, so we'll see if he joins here. But anyway, thanks for still tuning in. Demetrius Hill will be joining here any minute. Hopefully I've answered all your guys' questions and over the last 34 minutes. It's not been that long of an episode tonight. All right, so I know maybe some of the dead silence may not be sexy, but hey, it is what it is, man. Gonna get her done, get him on here, and that's why we do this, right? I think it's pretty good free entertainment. It's a value, no doubt. And before people say something, yeah, I know it's like 11 o'clock East Coast time, but Demetrius Hill was wanting to jump on and join. So he messaged me and apologized and said, hey, I can get on. So. All right. So let's see Q&A here. We're all good. He'll be getting on here any second. I sent him the link. Mm-mm-mm. Again, thanks for subscribing on YouTube, subscribing on Apple Podcasts, and all the follows and stuff on Twitter. We appreciate it. And I wish Kev could have joined tonight. I know Kevin really wanted to be on tonight, but he was flying from Arizona back home and couldn't make it. So we'll see here. Demetrius said, he wanted to do tomorrow, but we'll see if he. I'm telling him, come on. So you guys are staying up wanting to watch. So, and more importantly, I know you'll get to hear it tomorrow if he does. But if not, he'll jump on tomorrow. All right, here we go. Let's do it. Well, hey, thanks, man. Thanks for jumping on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, I know it's a little late, but so if we're all good, things happen. But thanks for jumping on. I kind of told them that you were going to come on, so the people who are staying on watching we're expecting that. But anyway, so Demetrius had a lot of people asking me different things. I've told them to ask some questions, but I wanted basically to get your thought process just instead of over text. But how did the whole process work with you hit the portal from FIU after a very good year, first freshman All-American. Did Illinois contact you like immediately? Like, how did that whole thing work? Because obviously they wanted you. If you hit the portal and then they come after you. How did the whole process with Illinois work?
So Illinois didn't hit me up immediately. I guess like when I got offered by another Big Ten school, that's when they came after me, like midway. So
wow, so they got lucky then, though.
Yeah.
No, not. And that's only a joke, because when you see how many players they're putting in the league with the secondary, that had to did that have to stand out for you when you kind of saw the NFL draft?
Oh yeah, definitely stood out. Like the production of DBs and everything, that just stood out to me and my family.
So which in Illinois' favor, I got to be honest. In the past, if Illinois had offered, a player of your caliber midway after other schools, there was no way they would have come to Illinois.
Yeah.
But the production and consistency, I don't know if maybe they told you, but Nate Hobbs 3 years ago got drafted by the Raiders. Last year, Kirby Joseph drafted by the Lions. And then, boom, 3 secondary players from last year's team. So that's 5 players in the last 3 years have been drafted from Illinois in the secondary. So when you came to Illinois, obviously the production for the NFL matters, but you had to, of course, like what you saw in Champaign, right? You weren't just going to come to Illinois because of that.
Yeah, Champaign is a nice city. It's definitely different because like I traveled out of Miami, but like it'd be like for away games, like 7-on-7, like back then. But I never like looked over a city like over my tour. They actually took me around the city, showed me a few things, a few spots, and I actually liked it. I thought I would like I live in Miami. Miami is like the city.
Oh, yeah.
But I like the environment chance to be good for me.
Yeah. I mean, you'll be here maybe a year or two. You'll be all right. Yeah. More importantly, here's my question. Here's another one. What'd you think of the Smith Center, their football performance?
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. I was there for 2 days, and I'm like, this facility is huge. But I'm going to know my way around the facility tomorrow when I come back. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go this way. But you'll think you go one way, but it ends up into a meter room or to the weight room. It's just like, it's huge, but it's really nice. Really, really, really nice.
I haven't even seen all of it. I've seen some of it. But so were you able to see the bowling alley?
Yeah, I actually seen that. But I didn't play bowling. I'm not good at bowling. I wasn't going to embarrass myself. I played
and they got putt golf on the top floor too.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's so that's been a real positive for the program, that thing, because a lot of schools don't have anything that nice. I mean, from what you've seen, where would you rank that up there in the middle, the top, like from what you've seen?
Definitely like the patio, definitely like push them number one. Like that, I never seen a patio with like a mini golf course on any facility.
Oh man, okay, that's nice. So we talked a little bit. Reggie Love, Illinois' junior running back, who looks like he's going to be primed to be a big player on this season's team. How did you guys get along, and how was he as a host?
He was a really good host, man. I just asked him like really honest questions, like how is this place? What's it like being up here? Like what do you do on the weekends? What do you do on the weekdays? How is it like? How's this environment coming from a different state? Like how would you fit in? How did you adjust? Like, I was asking like real questions. He was being honest with me. He was like some things he didn't like, some things he did like. I'm like, okay, that's real. And I asked the coaches the same questions, and I heard the same responses. So I know he was giving me an honest response.
And with the coaches, I was told, so defensive coordinator Aaron Henry, who's a Florida guy, right?
Yeah.
Is he? Was it Finellis and Henry were the big connections, or I heard Kevin Richardson did a great job.
Yeah, that guy. That guy. Me and him almost became best friends on the visit. That guy is a great guy.
I want to give him a shout out because he doesn't get much love, but Aaron Henry literally told my guy Kevin, who's my co-host, he couldn't be on tonight, but he goes, "You better mention Kevin Richardson."
Yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah, so that's a big shout out. But how is it? I know different schools have coaches who've played, but Illinois has their defensive coordinator, now your DB coach. Both were, Rose Bowl, all Big Ten type defensive backs. Does that breed, more confidence, or you're like, I'm playing for guys who've been in it, who've played at a high level, who've won? Does that stuff matter to you?
Yeah, it matters to me, but like even the stuff on the field they did and off the field, like all the coaches have great success as well. And like I'm just not a football player. School is a more important thing, and that football and school overall makes them like an even better coach. It makes you stand out even more. They don't care just about football. They talking about the academic success and much more about their life.
Now, with that being said, family is the slogan.
Yeah.
Did it genuinely feel like a family when you were there?
Honestly, it did feel like a family. Like I never seen my parents interact with other people like in my face so much. Like my dad was having vivid conversations with the coaches. My mom was even engaged. My mom doesn't even know about football. But we got back to Miami. She was telling me things I never knew she knew. But she was like, oh, I learned it in Illinois. Like that just like every day, just like every hour just like felt more like family oriented. Like there's that like actually like mean that family word, the 2 L's means something.
So I'm telling you that as much as some of these places, and even for Illinois, when you see sometimes the hashtags, you're like, okay, it's catchy. They're trying to come up with something special. It sounds like it's a real thing, so that's important.
Yeah.
Now with you on the field, with your success you had at FIU, what did the staff love, and where they felt like, hey man, we got to have you? What was the biggest factor for them where they said, hey man, we got to have you?
I like being around the ball, like either tackling, pass breakups, interceptions. But they told me I'm a really great player, but they could take my game to the next level, and that's what really stood out. But like even their production rate, like okay, they showed me like how a player played like a year before they got there to when they got there. It's like that's a huge improvement. Like they showed me the drills that I can work on to improve my craft and everything. So it's something I had a great season, but I told them I had a great season, but I have a lot to work on to have an even better season.
Definitely. I mean, I think everybody would agree, and your best is yet to come.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Coach Bielema says, right? The best is yet to come. So when you come to Illinois, what do what are you wanting to, study and do? Illinois is a great place to get your education too.
Yeah.
What are you wanting to focus on?
Well, I started off sports management here, so I'm just going to take my talents up there and finish up with sports management. I'm a minor in finance.
Okay. You're going to take your talents from South Beach up to Champaign, right? The LeBron way.
The location.
So when do you report to Champaign?
They haven't gave me an exact date yet. I'm actually still waiting on that because I just did my get approved into the school and everything. So once that goes through, it'll take a few days or maybe a week at the most, and I'll have everything set and final when I go up there.
All right. Well, hey man, I know you were busy tonight, and you had a lot going on. I appreciate you joining me. Are you going to try to help do some recruiting, maybe finish up the portal season here?
Yeah, I'm working.
Yep. All right. So I appreciate your time, man. Have a good rest of your night, and thanks for joining me.
Appreciate y'all.
All right. Thanks, man. That was Demetrius Hill, Illinois' latest, maybe greatest addition to the team. Illinois' defense is going to be ferocious, going to be nasty, and he is a cherry on top of a nice dessert, because Illinois, needed to have another piece, that where you could feel like a guy who's played, and you didn't want to just throw just a freshman in there who hadn't have any game experience. Yes, he played. He's a sophomore, but he had played in big games. He made big plays, and you want a guy who can make plays in the box, kind of like Sidney Brown, and has speed to break up plays, deep. So great athlete, long. That's one thing the staff loves: long, athletic secondary. 6'1", 6'2" to 6'4", they all rangy and long and athletic. And man, so what an addition to Illinois season next year. So that's awesome having him. That's going to do it for me tonight. Q&A night on Keeping It Orange and Blue. And I hope I didn't disappoint by finishing off with Demetrius Hill. I try to do my best for you guys. I try to do my best. That's why you follow me, though. That's what I do. So with that being said, ILL, I have no fear. RayJ Dennis will be